हेलो, मेरा नाम रवि रंजन है और आज इस कार्यक्रम में हम बात कर रहे थे कि किस तरह से स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम और बिज़नेस इकोसिस्टम को आगे बढ़ाया जा सके। पिछले 12 सालों से मैं इंडिया के स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम के साथ जुड़ा हूं और कुछ साल पहले ही मैंने एक बहुत फेमस टीवी शो को क्यूरेट किया था, शार्क टैंक इंडिया के नाम से। उसके अलावा अलग अलग गवर्नमेंट्स के साथ मैंने इन इंडस्ट्री में काम किया है ताकि स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम को हम इंडिया में बढ़ा सकें। आज के कार्यक्रम में हमने बात की कि किस तरह भारत के अगले कुछ सालों में जो बिज़नेस का इकोसिस्टम है उसको अच्छे तरीके से बनाया जा सके। 3 जो बड़े मुद्दे आए हैं वो एक तो गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से और सपोर्ट की आवश्यकता है। दूसरा, अगर हम बात करें कोलकाता और बंगाल की, तो यहाँ पे हमें स्टार्टअप के नंबर्स को बढ़ाने की आवश्यकता है क्योंकि अनफॉर्चुनेटली मुंबई, दिल्ली, बैंगलोर में बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप्स हैं, कलकत्ता में कम हैं। उसके लिए हमें लोकल इन्वेस्टर्स की आवश्यकता पड़ेगी, लोकल टेक्निकल सपोर्ट की आवश्यकता पड़ेगी और साथ ही साथ गवर्नमेंट को इस पूरे इकोसिस्टम को प्रमोट करना पड़ेगा। तीसरी चीज़ जो हमने डिस्कस की, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस और टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत तेज़ी से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं और हर इंडस्ट्री को वो इम्पैक्ट कर रहे हैं। हमें कहीं ना कहीं इस स्टेट में, इस शहर में AI और टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में बात करनी पड़ेगी ताकि लोग उससे डरे नहीं बल्कि उसका इस्तेमाल करके कैसे आगे बढ़ सके।
So it's almost like moving on from roti kapra and makan to another very important stakeholders of economy, which is startups. So they are a dominating player now in the current context. So let us have your views on the topic.
As per me, there are 5 very important fundamental pillars which will help a country grow: education, access to good quality healthcare, ease of doing business, tax structure which is favorable for businesses to grow, and finally, a government who care about the citizen. Unfortunately, in the last 36 years, when I have gained consciousness, I have not seen any government even trying to put effort on that. I'll just break down these things very quickly. We talk about education is the most important pillar for a country to grow. As somebody was saying, we are going through a demographic dividend phase right now where India has one of the highest population of young people. We are losing out on that because our education structure is still the same the way Britishers had designed. So Britishers, when they were designing the Indian curriculum, which we are still using, it was designed so that Indian students can be trained to become modern slaves in their modern factories in Britain and other places. We could not change it. There was an introduction of NEP, but it's not implemented. Second, talk about healthcare. I'm very, very sure none of us in this room would like to send yourself or your family members to a government hospital. You would like to avail private hospital, which means that the government has failed in the hospital and health access. But if you want to take private insurance, government is penalizing you by putting extra GST on taking the insurance and every single component which you go to a private hospital. Number 3, we talk about ease of doing business. India is one of the worst countries in the world to do business. While I promote India across the world, that's one of my job. I have been to more than 2,000 events talking about India, how great the ecosystem is. But on the ground reality, except few businesses, most of the businesses are considered doing, they are treated as if they are doing criminal activities by the GST department, income tax department, all the compliance department. We have zero support from the government. We have 100 compliance which are actually pushed on the small businesses. When a young student like me or somebody is starting, so I'll tell you, my first job, I used to get a salary of 3,000 rupees a month. From there, I worked really hard and today I make good enough money. And today when I have to pay all these unnecessary taxes, I would not call them unnecessary. The problem is that not paying taxes is not a challenge. We pay taxes similar to Switzerland. We get services like Somalia and Sudan. That's where ease of business is really, really troubling the country. We are not able to grow from here on where, honestly, we have missed IoT revolution, we have missed AI revolution, we have missed blockchain revolution, we have missed industry automation, we have missed industry 4.0. While on one side government is saying that, okay, we are going to ban China, but if you look at the import numbers, it has only been increased. So government is not creating an infrastructure where more and more manufacturing facilities can be set up. Rather, they are trying to just play this very easy victim cards that we are going to do it. So why I'm saying all these things is because for the last 3 years, when I talk to thousands of business owners in India, people are very sad and the government is not listening to them. Nobody is listening, nobody is paying any heed. The last point, you need to have less governance. You need to have less government and more governance, but exactly opposite is happening. For the last 2 terms of the current government, I was very hopeful that third term would have some massive changes. Unfortunately, 100 days have passed, nothing is happening. So what is happening on reality is that there are some traditional wealthy people who have generational wealth, they are doing very happy, they are very happy with what they are doing. But if you really ask a startup who's trying to build, I mean, who's first finishing a college, spending a lot of money on getting private education, then leave his cushy job and start a startup, he or she is being penalized every day by the burden of compliance, number one, burden of tax, number two, and even after paying the corporate and the income tax, you're paying GST on every single item. Government is trying to launch one more category, approximately 35% of luxury GST. So in a year, you're working 6 months for the government, 6 months yourself. What are you getting as a startup from the government? Only this assumption that, oh, if you're starting a new business, maybe you're trying to do criminal activities. So unfortunate, but this is the sad reality. I did not want to sugarcoat. These are my thoughts.
প্যানেল ডিসকাশনটা যেটা আজকে ছিল, তো ওয়্যার উই কেম অ্যাকচুয়ালি টুডে, ইটস কমপ্লিটলি আ ভেরি ডিফারেন্ট ওয়ান। অ্যাজ আই স্টার্টেড, যে ইটস নট লাইক দ্য ট্র্যাডিশনাল যে কোথাও কেউ স্টেজে বসে আছে অ্যান্ড দ্য পিপল অনলি সেইং অ্যান্ড এভরি ওয়ান ইজ জাস্ট নিজেরা মোবাইল ঘাটছে। ইটস নট লাইক, ইটস জাস্ট এভরি ওয়ান ইজ সিটিং সাইড বাই সাইড। আর এত ভালো ইনসাইটস, এত ইন্ডাস্ট্রি নিয়ে এত সিরিয়াস টক্স, শুধু তাই নয়, এখানে যারা রয়েছে অল দ্য ইন্ডাস্ট্রি লিডার্স, they came personally, not there any representative, not there someone that's just doing research in AC rooms. So we shared the views, and many new things I came to know. Definitely others also came to know. So these voice, I hope, will go a proper forum, means the government, means the higher authorities, so actual solution should come up. It's not like we are taking, talking something, the problem is only that there is problem. It's not like that. We have to come to a solution of a problem. That actually today we did, and I hope this kind of initiative will take place again and again, and this will actually gives a benefit to the startups, to the entrepreneurs, to the business stakeholders, and to the economy of the country.
Real estate, which also the concept of green building or applying the green, are envisaging over the next, say, let's say 2-3 years, and how you are gearing up to solve those problems?
And I'm belonging to from such an industry. Just a few years back, it never considered as an industry. Real estate nobody considered as an industry. It's a very sad thing. But let me tell you, in past 5 years, this particular organization, I would say organization, real estate organization, has taken steps, bold steps rather. Now people are forced to consider the entire organization as industry. So now real estate became an industry, just as you pointed out, RERA. So maybe RERA was introduced just 1 year back in West Bengal, because before that we were not in Bengal, India. So HERA was there. So more or less same concept, but I'm saying you the introduction of RERA has given a complete different format to the industry, because I'm into this industry from 2007, so 18 years, approximately 18 years. I'm as a first generation entrepreneur, so I've started off my para promoter, and from that level I've started from a G+3 building, 6 or 7 flats. So till now my company Sri Balaji has delivered more than 1200 units, and more than 4,000 is under construction. So I have seen the changes happens in this industry. I've been working on the left front was there, because political environment is always played a very big role in this industry, and this is such an industry where the major manufacturer of any countries like steel, cement, paints, all the major industries are involved, including local chai wala. So we have to handle everyone. So this is such industry where if anyone sit in the chair for 3 years, I would say that person will be able to handle any industry in the world. So, but this industry in like last 5 years has changed a lot. It's taken a shape. Now, if you see, no small players are able to continue their operation, because after Notebandi, RERA, GST, all those things, it's not possible for a small para promoter to continue their operation, and this is the most good effect is passing on to the end user, means the purchaser. Now the delivery, quality, everything means they forced to maintain. They forced to maintain. Now let me come up with the sustainability and the other part. Real estate development has completely changed in 15 years. If you see the projects, all the major projects are coming. It's green building, it's there is star rating, everything. But don't go by this paperwork. Now the thing is, it's actually happening. STP and all that was introduced 20 years back. But the way waste management is happening in major complexes, the way waste water and the waste treatment is happening, gas supply system, electrical supply system, labor maintenance. Previously what happens, whenever a new industry or a new building starts, the agal bagal ka sabka to jina haram. But it never happens now, I'm saying, because there is lot of precautions are there, there is lot of measures are there, sustainable scopes are there. If there is possible, if we really want to make not only the building, not only the complex, to make the entire industry sustainable, we do have lot of things to do, and now we are making. If let me tell you, in one of my project in North Bengal, my architect, landscape architect, proposed 1200 big trees to be planted, and we have already planted approx 800 plus big trees. So the landscape is, instead of making more concrete landscape, which would be looking more aesthetical, this, that, he proposed, as it is in North Bengal, so go for something natural. So 800 plus big trees, and that we started planting from the day initial, when the construction was not started, because they pointed these are the place where we can really start the plantations, and rest of the things we'll do after a certain period. So in just 4 years span, right now we do have, I think, more than 500 full-grown trees, and it's changed the entire scenario of the complex. And I'm saying you, just a few months back, one of the central ministers, he visited, and he get amazed. He said, हम तो हिमाचल में रहते हैं, हम तो एकदम देखते ही रहते हैं ऐसा, लेकिन I'm saying you, मानो this is something, a phenomenal thing happens. And as per PCB, the prescribed trees, I think something around 400 plus, and this is really tough for any real estate project. Go as per the prescription of PCB, plantation of trees, because we do not have much lands, because we have to use the FAR also, ground coverage also, so we have to adopt some alternative things. Here we did into two. That was possible because the land size and the project size was huge in that area. That may not be possible in city. That's fact. It may not be possible, but in this process, the industry already learned. That's why myself, I already learned that this is my responsibility also.
आज ACAE का जो यहाँ पे इनिशिएटिव है टू डिस्कस अबाउट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग challenges in the new era. This was a very good concept and यहाँ पे बहुत fruitful discussion हुआ. आज इंडस्ट्री का या मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेगमेंट में, जैसे वी आर फ्रॉम द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ऑफ पेंट्स, तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेगमेंट को क्या चैलेंजेस है एंड ये चैलेंजेस उसको कैसे ओवरकम करने चाहिए उसके बारे में यहाँ पे डिस्कशन हुआ. इंडिया के क्या चैलेंजेस है, स्पेशली ईस्टर्न इंडिया, एंड वी बिलोंग टू कोलकाता, तो कोलकाता में क्या चैलेंजेस है एंड इसको कैसे हम लोगों को टेकअप करना चाहिए, कैसे इसको प्रोएक्टिव बनकर हम लोगों को इसका सोल्यूशन निकालना चाहिए, इसके बारे में फ्रूटफुल डिस्कशन हुआ.
सो टॉकिंग अबाउट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इन द न्यू एरा, वन ऑफ द इंटरेस्टिंग न्यूज़ व्हिच केम इन फाइनेंशियल टाइम्स a few, I think about 2 days ago, is that the service exports from India has surpassed the manufacturing exports. So this is something very, very important and very interesting. But at the same time, during COVID, everybody realized, all the governments realized that manufacturing or the world factory cannot be shifted to China. We are trying to focus on manufacturing. We are trying to give a boost to manufacturing, but maybe somewhere that is not happening. Maybe the services or maybe the population export is happening, because service industry per se, it is happening because India has got the biggest population. So we are able to capitalize on the population, but the vast resources that India has. Somewhere, few efforts are being made by the government of India, but I think we need to capitalize more on that. The world is waiting for us because everybody wants to shift base from China to other countries, and India is the biggest beneficial out of that. But I think more needs to be done, and we as manufacturers, we have a responsibility to take on this cumbersome task, to take on this responsibility, join hands with the government, and maybe move forward, and so that we can not just be a services hub, but we can also be a manufacturing hub.
I am Sumit Dalan from Jashti and Industries Limited, Senior Vice President, looking into International Marketing Division. Today we have a very good interactive session and lot of exchange of knowledge in different fields. People from finance, from startup companies, from tea industry, from chemical companies, and from paint company. Therefore, a real estate company also. And we had a very good interaction, a lot of learning.
We need to contribute to environment. We need to make the environment clean. And it is our duty to keep the environment clean. Therefore, a lot of factors, and especially in the international market, people who are importing teas from us, they are also giving a lot of focus that our tea should be compliant. For example, more and more people are asking for organic teas. Therefore, if people know about what is organic, basically you can't use all kind of pesticides in the plantation. Therefore, they have the limits, and if limit is crossed, they just reject your consignment. Therefore, it's very important that the tea is organic, or if it is conventional also, it has to be as per their parameters. Suppose I'm exporting any tea to Germany, if it is not within their parameters, they will immediately reject your teas. Therefore, again, cost is a very important part. We need to send samples to Germany to test the teas, which is again increasing our cost. Second, again, water sustainability, because water is very important. Therefore, judicious use of water, because as we understand that 2050 there will be huge scarcity of water across the globe. Therefore, we need to save water, which is again a very, very important thing. Again, we are cutting trees. We need to do a lot of conservation. We need to plant more and more trees so that we can save nature. Therefore, these are very, very important things as far as sustainability is concerned. And again, international buyers, they give a lot of emphasis for traceability. Means when you are plucking the teas, till it is converted into your cup of tea, from that portion to the end, they want every chain to be traced. Therefore, traceability is getting important in international market.
Yeah, you mentioned about this population, and for so many years India. So you will have to keep that at the back of your mind as well, that we may no longer be a kind of young country. And as you rightly said, that in many cases tea consignments are getting rejected because of not being organic and other quantity and level of pesticides and chemical fertilizers. So, and as we are going to discuss about these new challenges and industry getting reshaped, there are a lot of applications of AI in the process, and there are AI solutions available which can detect this level at the planters level or tea gardens level. So before the consignment is sent for export, those things can be checked, and so that it doesn't get stopped at that point of time. So these are the solutions I think we need to discuss after the end of opening remarks.
Sir, I tell you, Government of India is also getting very strict with these food items, because human health is very important. You are consuming tea, but you don't know what is coming inside the tea. After consuming, you may fall sick. Again, many pesticides are being used for making that tea, which is not good for your health. If you see, diabetes patients are increasing day by day in our country. Therefore, we need to educate people what they are drinking, what is in their food. Therefore, those things are very important. Therefore, if you have seen these food safety standards being implemented by Government of India, we need to understand that in deep, and we need to follow that. Therefore, government is taking action on those things. They are also sending, they are taking random samples from the shelf, and they are checking at their end. If any problem is there, they just ban the brand. Therefore, that action is taken by the government. Yes.
Hi, I am Vishal Agarwal, and I am the director at Edible Agro Products Limited, part of Edible Group, into edible oil manufacturing and white labeling. The session was a nice one. It was a good conversation. It was great to hear from all the stakeholders of different industries talking about how to build the next era for the industry, considering all the challenges faced with the globalization, with the AI and other dynamics adding to it.
Government of India in 2019 introduced RUCO. RUCO is repurpose used cooking oil. As on date, India as a country is an importer of 25 million tons of edible oil in a year. And the government has, as per its data, they were visioning to collect back at least 10 to 15% of used cooking oil. Now, as we talk of sustainability, the RUCO oil would have straight away gone into manufacturing of biodiesel. And we would have got an unadulterated food. Presently, the edible oil sold in the market, there is a lot of adulteration of used oil that is coming back into the food. So to make that total supply chain and the sustainable, it is very important and a very good initiative by the government. But all the stakeholders, starting from the government to the consumers to the end users, everybody needs to be part of that chain to make that complete chain applicable. Government can take steps, it is taking steps. As per the last data that government has shared, in the last 5 years, out of the total estimated collection, they were only able to collect 40,000 metric ton. So you can imagine, they were estimating a collection of approximately 3 million tons in a year, which would have amounted to 15 million tons in 5 years, whereas their collection is only 40,000 tons. So the difference can be ascertained and it can be easily judged that it is going back into the system, which is not helping anybody. Neither it is helping to make anything sustainable, neither it is helping a consumer.
In my opinion, the key takeaway from today's discussion is that we have to be proactive and understand the nuances of the changing world and accept that change is inevitable. So change is happening, we have to be proactive, think ahead and be prepared for the change. Otherwise you lose out.
Last but not the least, we need finance to grow, whether the industry gets reshaped or...
I like to start with one thing. The flow of thought during this entire chain has been that the industry is reactive. You know, while we are having this discussion, we are talking about reshaping, we have to be proactive. So real estate starts changing when RERA comes in, or oil industry starts changing when ROCO comes in. The concept should be, that's where ACE members will come into your help for all the industry members. You need to be proactive, you need to outthink before something is happening, and that's how you get the first mover's advantage. So, for example, today, a traditional CA audit practice, probably 90% of the manual vouching part would be taken over by, you know, data analytics and AI. So the traditional CA who's doing his auditing, signing will still be by a registered CA, but what about the audit part? What about the actual audit part? Probably, you know, you'll have set of parameters and see the accounts also from the traditional written voucher, it's all anyway now computerized. So you would have your set of software which moves into your client set of software and validates all the data. So you have to outthink as to what can I do. Probably the institute also has to think that what the future of the CA would be like. I mean, I can't think of having those 4 years of articleship, and basically if you talk to any article, first 2 years is doing nothing but vouching. And he's actually enjoying good meals on the client's account and doing vouching, which is no longer validated. So the point is that you have to think before it happens. For example, we talk about sustainability. I remember incidents from my childhood when I was, I think about, maybe about 12 or 14. A cousin of mine he joined Premier Engineering Institute and he chose environmental engineering. Back then I was a kid and I actually asked, environmental engineering hota kya hai? Mechanical suna, chemical suna, electrical suna, ye environment mein engineering kya kar rahe hain? To Bhagwan karke bhej rahe. You see, so this is what I'm trying to say is ki the whole concept has to be, we have to be proactive and not reactive. That's the way to survive. Whether it's finance, law. I mean, the way I am in researching, we have a lawyer here. Probably in 10 years' time, 90% of legal matters will be all data-driven. You just put in your papers and you get a solution, which act, which section, what is, and probably they will be more thorough than a lawyer, because no lawyer can know all the, like Ravi mentioned, thousands of laws. No lawyer can remember. So every lawyer, generally a senior, would be specializing on somebody is a litigation specialist, somebody is a compliance specialist, somebody is a settlement specialist, but all that will be available. You will only need their signatures to validate the thing. So probably even in manufacturing, I mean, the way I am seeing things happening, the whole setups might go change. The robotics, I mean, medical, you're talking about now robotics doing the entire surgery. Real estate, you're talking about 3D printed, pre-printed houses. What would a Pada developer do when somebody comes in, flattens the spot and just prints out a house there? So the whole point is that we have to be very, very proactive. We have to think what is happening. We have to spend time right now. The way to fight, you cannot fight AI, but the way to survive this AI disruption is to be on your foot and outthink them, think what is happening and change yourself according to it. That I think is very, very important. Rather than, changing when you are forced to change. A whole lot of things would be, I mean, do you know that this device knows more about you than you know about yourself? And it remembers everything, mind you. You will forget what you ate 30 days back, it remembers. And this is the new oil. I mean, this data is what you see, I'll give you another example. I'm not taking the name, but a very large conglomerate also has a retail arm and also has a telecommunication arm. About 20 years ago, I was sitting with a very senior strategic planner of that conglomerate, and something he said back then, I mean, which seemed very futuristic to me back then, but now I see this happening with my own eyes. 20 years ago, he said, when you will walk into a Bata store, my data network will inform me that you walked into a Bata store, and I will send you an offer that on my shoe section I am giving you a 30% off for next 2 hours. And I'll also give you a location of my shoe store, which would be within 500 meters of that store where you are. So again, what I'm trying to say is things will change. Things are changing and they'll change, and they're changing much faster. Say 100 years ago, one generation lasted 30 years. It came down, now it's 3 years. Probably another 10 years we'll look at everything changing every year. We don't know.